Hello, Chris here. Today, I've got a question for you, and it's from one of my spiritual teachers. Are you putting sand in your bozo? Now, that probably sounds a little strange at first, but if you're familiar, there's these big, balloon things where you put sand in the bottom of them, and you punch them, and they go over, and then they bounce back up. Well, my spiritual teacher says that when we do the work, when we take one step towards our desired outcome, we put sand in our bozo. And every time we do that, we get more and more sand. And what that means is, over time, when we get pushed over, we don't go as far away, and we bounce back a lot quicker. Now, the question that I asked you, are you putting sand in your bozo, is a little bit of a trick question. And I'll tell you why in a little bit. But first, let me step back, because it's not just my own spiritual teacher who talks about this. All of the greatest success mentors in the world talk about taking small, consistent steps towards your goal. Even Eckhart Tolle talks about this in The Power of Now, when he says, if you want to experience presence, just experience it a little bit. And then, over time, you'll experience it a little bit more frequently and a little bit longer. And the more that you do this, the more you experience presence, the more you feel in the now, the more peace you feel, and that's Eckhart Tolle talking. So similarly, I want to talk about putting sand in your bozo. That's why I create these videos. That's why I encourage you to write comments in the sections below. That's why I email you frequently, so that you really can pick up on that you can experience that every little bit makes a big difference, because we're told so often in life that we need big epiphanies, massive changes, and what we don't realize is those massive changes come from small changes, small steps that all add up. We don't get to the top of a staircase by jumping. We get there by going one step at a time. Now, how does this relate to the trick question? See, the thing is, we're always putting sand in our bozo, whether we realize it or not. In fact, we kind of have two bozos. One is taking us towards what we want. Every time we take that action, we move closer. If there's something that we really want, suppose we want to be a writer, an author, then the first step is to put our pen to the paper, to write one word, one sentence, one paragraph. Over time, those sentences, those words, those paragraphs, they become stories. They become books, best-selling authors. They all started with 0 words on the paper, and they ended up with a completed book, or several completed books. Every person who has attained wealth started with no money. Maybe they had inheritance or something like that, those are some exceptions, but generally speaking, when people build wealth from the ground up, they start with nothing, and sometimes people lose everything they have multiple times. But every time they succeed, every time they fall down, it always puts a little more sand in their bozo, because they're taking action towards their desired goal. Now, the challenge is that over our lives, other people have encouraged us to put sand in a different bozo. They've encouraged us, or really they've discouraged us from our dreams. They've told us it's not okay to be ourselves. They've told us that money doesn't grow on trees, that our dreams aren't real. And every time they told us that, and we believed them, we put a little bit of sand in this other bozo that takes us away from our dreams. And that has the same effect, that every time we try to put sand in our desired bozo, the other one pushes us down, because it's got a lot of sand there. It's been built up over our entire lifetime. So the real challenge is this, that every time we take one small step towards our desired goal, we're taking sand out of the bozo that we don't want and putting it into the bozo we do want. That is what it really means to put sand in your bozo. It's not just putting it in, it's also taking it out. It's moving it to the place that we want it to be.